morning, everybody. How are we doing? Nikki Burnett here. This is Taste Life Nutrition Radio, streaming live on KUHSdenver.com, where we bring to you, or the goal is to bring to you the best that we can as far as health, nutrition, evidence-based, successful things that help you to improve your life to the best of your ability and to the best of my ability, right? So health and wellness is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relational. It's all of the things. And so my goal is to do my best to bring to you all of the things that are of goodness and can help you live that amazing, beautiful, optimal life that you have to live. And hopefully introduce you to some things, some concepts, some people, some ideas that maybe are a little bit outside of the conventional, that maybe you didn't know about, which is always fun because I'm always learning. I'm always meeting new people who do some of the really coolest, amazing things. But today, it's just me. Today, I wanted to chat a little bit about lifestyle. It sounds so simple. Sounds like it's not a big deal, but it really makes such a huge difference, especially when we are in a space where we're considering pregnancy. Even if we're in the space where we're already trying to get pregnant, yes, but considering pregnancy, the data shows that 5 lifestyle changes can decrease negative outcomes by 80%. It's freaking huge, right? Yeah, it's huge. So, but as always, we start the show with gratitude because gratitude can change the world. And I truly believe that if we just take a step back and look at all the wonderful things that we have in our lives, even if it's one thing, if it's 100 things, right? We can always find something to be grateful for, and it can raise us up. It can lift up those around us, and it truly can have, that sort of that snowball effect around us and beyond. So, today as I was, sort of contemplating what I'm grateful for, I try to do that most every morning and at night. Doesn't always work, but I try to. And one of the things that I was going to say, which I say every year because it's true, is we always have our annual family reunion this time of year, and so we head out for a week, go deep into the mountains, and it's hanging out with, anywhere from 30 to, 50. One time we had 65 plus people deep in the mountains, no Wi-Fi, no cell service, no nothing, and just out playing and cooking and eating and cocktailing and fishing and hiking and all of the things that you do with family and just really having a good time. So that's coming up for us, and it's always such a great experience and always so much fun, and everybody, having their little food contest, what can I make this year that's the bigger and the better, and so much fun. So really enjoy that. And I think I said this last week or the week before, when we do that, or anytime we go to the mountains and we're able to take the dogs, which is most every time, getting out deep enough to where those girls, we have 3 of them if you don't already know that, but those girls can just go and just run. There is no stopping them, and they are, it's just so fun to watch the freeness of them as they search and chase and sniff and play with each other and all of the things. It's really so much fun. But the other thing, so I'm going to say 2 things this week that I'm really grateful for. I'm trying to see the small things, which really are not so small, but be grateful for the things that I'm surrounded by. And every day I get out of bed and I go to the kitchen and I can look out the windows into the backyard where we've got my garden, and we have, we've worked on the yard and the gardens, since we've been in this house, which has been 7 years, 8 years, something like that. And it went from, it was pretty before, but we've built things, and what I love really probably more than anything is watching the garden do its own thing. So we now have lots of volunteer plants. We have lots of volunteer sunflowers. This year it's a different kind of sunflower, one that we've not had before, that I'm sure came from a bird or somewhere, I don't really know, but we've got a couple of those. And then of course we're starting to get our zucchini and our squash and some tomatoes off of the vines, and watching other flowers that pop up and thinking, where did this one come from? And we have it's just really fun to watch. And sometimes you've got to cull it back a little bit because it can get a little out of control, but it really is just this sort of a little bit wild, a little bit manicured, but not really kind of yard, which I love. And we've got apples all over the place. The dogs this time of year, man, those girls eat more apples. It's kind of amazing. But the girls are eating the apples. We don't usually get many. The squirrels get them out of the tree, and then the dogs eat them. So anyway, it's the way it goes, right? But it really is just beautiful looking outside and watching God work. The perfection in the beauty and just a lot of it I didn't do, which is awesome. God did it. So really cool stuff. So anyway, that's what I'm really grateful for, is just being able to look out this time of year and seeing all the beauty that we're surrounded by. So so let's dig in a little bit to what I wanted to talk about today, which if you know me at all, these are things that I talk about a lot, but I don't always talk about them in the when we're talking about planning for pregnancy. And I think what I want to first touch on is what it means to plan for pregnancy. If you've not thought about this before, I think what happens so often is we get to this place and we're like, okay, let's try to get pregnant. It's time. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And I know this from experience, that sometimes people are suffering from symptoms and they're like, well, okay, whatever, let's just go get pregnant anyway. What does that do to a body? And what does that do to the baby? And what does that do to increased potential complications, negative outcomes for mom, for the pregnancy, for baby? And if you've heard me once, you've heard me a million times say, of course, for generations to come. And so we have the ability today, if we're in a place where we're thinking about getting pregnant and we want to get healthy, we have or even if we're not healthy, we have the ability to impact generations. 7 generations is what the data shows, that my health today, if I were in a place where I wanted to get pregnant, my health today, your health today, will have an impact for hundreds of years. 7 generations is hundreds of years. And so if we take a step back and think about where we are as a society, right? We're dealing with lots of fear, we're dealing with lots of frustration, we're dealing with fertility rates going through the floor. Just they're tanking, right, for both men and women. And we're dealing with these illnesses that, with all of this technology that we have, and all of these medicines, and all of these different, new surgeries and AI and all of these things all coming together, we're still getting sicker. Our immune systems still stink, right? And we are trying to decrease cardiovascular disease with these drugs and with this terrible dietary advice, like no fat, and our cardiovascular events just keep going up. Our strokes just keep going up. Our negative outcomes with pregnancy keep going up. Our inability to get pregnant in the first place keeps going up. Children with who are not even teenagers yet with type 2 diabetes is just going up. All of these things, we are in this just really negative spiral. What I love, though, is that we're also moving out of, at least we're starting to a bit, which conventional medicine doesn't like, but we're moving out of the conventional, and we're starting to search for other things that that may be beneficial. That's not to say that conventional medicine is not a good thing. Conventional medicine saves lives every single day, and it's absolutely necessary. But conventional medicine rocks at acute care, but I do think that it falls short with chronic care. And that's where we are. It's so much of where we're sitting is, say we have a situation with cardiovascular disease, right? That potentially is a chronic condition. It's been going on for years and years, and we're not helping people by putting them on statins in most cases, not in all cases. We're not helping people by telling them, to eat canola oil. We're making things worse. But then when the heart attack or the stroke happens, conventional medicine is amazing because it can save lives, right? It saves lives all the time. But what if we just take a step back and say, maybe we don't want to get to the point where we have to have conventional medicine save our lives, right? Maybe we want to consider making changes now and understanding what it looks like to make those changes now that are individual for each person, because we're all very, very different. And what if we make those changes now that impact our lives, impact our families' lives, impact our children's lives, and impact our great, however many great 7 generations is, for hundreds of years. I mean, that's where we sit right now. We have the capacity to do that. And one of the things that I know I've done this myself is we often sit, sort of take this back seat attitude that I'm only one person and I don't make a difference, which is it's so wrong. It's so wrong. We can make such a huge impact on, I'm one person, I impact the people around me. If I were to get pregnant, I'm impacting my pregnancy, I'm impacting that child, I'm impacting that child's future, and I'm impacting the future of generations. And imagine how that spreads with one person. Imagine how that spreads. If we reach 10 people with this message, imagine how that spreads, right? It's massive. And if we get this message out that taking the time today to prepare for pregnancy can impact the world. It can impact the world. It's fascinating, it's beautiful, it's miraculous. I mean, that's the really beautiful thing about creation anyway, right? Is all of these things have to happen in perfect, beautiful harmony for us to create little beings. And then, grow up to do all the amazing things that we do and that we have done and that we will do in this life and in the short time that we're here, but in the, hundreds of years to come. So I don't really mean to soapbox it, but I am a little bit, just because I think I want people to have this awareness. And I want this to really spread that this awareness of the power and how empowered we are. It's amazing. So let's kind of dig into some of the things that I wanted to chat about. Obviously, I'm a nutritionist. We're going to talk about food, and we'll dig into food. Some, there are a lot of things that we can do to make some lifestyle changes. But, food has become, food is this like basic necessity in life. And is it maybe one of the most understood things that we have, that we deal with, that we have to have in our body every single day? Maybe. I mean, I see it in practice all the time. And it's not even just food. So this was a conversation I had with a client of mine yesterday where she's one of my Soulful Conception clients, and she came in a place where she's like, I just need to figure some stuff out, and it was a lot of mental and emotional stuff. It's a lot of historical stuff, so lots of things to work through, and food plays a role in that, but there are a lot of things that play a role in that. But we've gotten to this place with her, which is really just so beautiful. where she's seeing the changes, she's feeling the changes, she knows the foods that are creating a problem with her. She knows when her mindset goes wonky and she's able to start to come out of it. She has much more of an awareness around who she is, where she is, why she is. And part of our conversation yesterday was, I asked her, like, how are you feeling with everything? And she's like, I'm a little bit pissed. And there was something like that. I was like, okay, what's up? And she said, I've done this 100 times. And she's talking about going and seeing a nutritionist or going to a personal trainer. And she said, every time I go, it's the same thing. They all give me this advice. I have to have this many calories, and I have to have this baseline, and I have to have more than what this baseline is because this is how our body works. And she's like, it never works. And I feel like I'm eating all the time, and I'm working out, and nothing ever works. And she said, as soon as we started doing what I had told her to do, or had given her, the guidance to do, don't tell anybody to do anything, she lost 2 pounds in a week. Now, part of that maybe is inflammation. There are a lot of things that go into that, right? You start making changes, the body goes into a little bit of a, what's going on, right? And then, which is great, and you start to lose some weight. Can you plateau? Sure. But, for her, we did decrease her calories a little bit. But I think it really is this understanding that whatever we do, we watch it. This is why I see people all the time. I don't do this, we see you one time here and one time there, and whenever you're ready, and let's do an hour here and let's do an hour there. I work with people on a consistent basis, so we're always checking in and we're always making changes. So when I put this plan together for her, which we decided to try carb cycling, which I think is really great for a lot of people, not for everybody. But we're doing carb cycling, so you've got some higher calorie days, some lower calorie days, but we're not really tracking calories. We're looking at what the way that we're taking in our macros on a daily basis. So sometimes it's high carb, sometimes it's high fat, and so you switch out, and it's always a good amount of protein. But I told her when I gave her this plan, I said, we can change this. I don't ever want anybody to feel like they're starving. I don't ever want anybody to feel like they're truly not, feeling depleted. And I don't want the stress of constantly having to track. Now, for a short period of time, and when people are willing to, it's great because it can give us a lot of information, right? And so I'm saying all of this, because this has to do, this can be anybody in any situation can have these situations and can try these different things. And so I'm also talking about those who are looking to get pregnant. If we want to try to balance the body, mitigate symptoms, understand the body, all of these different things that go into it, this can be something to try, right? But it's not for everybody. The point, though, is that when we consistently have meetings, we can say, even if they're 10 or 15 minutes, doesn't really matter, but we can say, okay, let's modify this. Let's change this. I checked in with her, are you hungry? Do you feel like you're getting enough food? All of these things that are very important because, if somebody is not getting enough calories and they are hungry, then they can get too hungry and then it doesn't matter. You're going to grab whatever you have. I've been there. I've done it myself. I get too hungry. I'm like, whatever I have, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to shove it in my face and eat it because I'm starving. This is not okay. And this doesn't help with mindset, and it doesn't help with weight loss, certainly, and it doesn't help with achieving goals, and it doesn't help with creating new, better, healthy habits, right? And so kind of get, backing up a little bit to what she was so pissed about was just that she's been told so many different things over the years, and it's frustrating. And that's where we are with food. That's where we are with diet. That's where we are with trying to understand what's going on with our bodies and what our bodies are telling us, because it's confusing. And we've taken this most beautiful basic thing about life and how we live life, which is food, and we've made it very difficult. The problem, though, is that it can be difficult because we're all dealing with different situations. We're dealing with different health states or disease states. We're dealing with different mental and emotional states, trauma, historical trauma. We're dealing with different relationship statuses, either way, as well as financial situations, spiritual situations, right? It's all the things that this show hits on, but each of us deals with all of these things, and we're in this different place differently, and it's all going to affect our body and how our body reacts to the world, to food, to life. And so this also is why understanding and starting to figure out the lifestyle changes that are important for you to help you to either mitigate symptoms or to just balance your body or to create a healthy, successful environment for conception, all of these things play a role. And really, we hear this, and I think I hit on this a little bit last week, but it all comes down to stress, because stress is inflammatory. When we have a disease, we're inflamed. It creates stress, which creates more inflammation. When we have stress, it creates inflammation, which creates more stress, which creates more inflammation, right? And I'm talking like serious stress, right? A little bit of stress is fine. Motivates us, gets us going, helps our body to do what it needs to do. Not a big deal. But it's when we're in this chronic state of elevated cortisol that it can create a problem for us. If we are constantly frustrated, it creates stress, which creates inflammation. If we're in a bad relationship, it creates stress, which creates inflammation. If we're in a financial situation that's a problem, it creates stress, which creates inflammation, right? So we can take this and we can boil it all down to stress, but we got to know what's causing the stress, right? And so infection, I see infection in people all the time. And so we want to get rid of the infection, so we're getting rid of the stress and getting rid of the inflammation, right? So mycotoxin exposures and heavy metal exposures and environmental exposures, your glyphosate, which is your Roundup, right? And it's not just about Roundup. This is the one that's getting the most publicity, and it's a freaking problem. But there's dioxins, there are all of these other pesticides and herbicides and toxins that are in our environment and that we're eating or we're inhaling or it's getting in our skin every single day. And the body can only take so much. So many of these things are not tested. And when we're looking at plastics, we see, PCBs that are in plastics that are endocrine disruptors, they're cancer causing, right? But what is happening is they're showing in plastics, they're taking out the PCBs, but they're putting in something that's just that is basically the same, but it's just not a PCB, right? Or maybe it's even worse, but it's the PCBs that are getting the heavy publicity. So, it's sad that that's the world that we live in, where just some people it just doesn't matter, but that's fine because they're held accountable for their, what they do in life and how they affect people. I believe that fully to be the case. I'm also accountable for what I do in my life and how I affect people. I'm accountable for just not using plastic. Now, it doesn't mean I never do, right? But I try not to most of the time. I'm held accountable for what I put on my skin, because most of the chemicals in our skincare products are endocrine disruptors. They disrupt our hormones. I'm responsible for the thoughts that are in my head. I'm responsible for the soap that I use, the deodorant that I use or don't use, because I rarely use it. The laundry detergent. All of these things that can either be really, really terrible. Oh, I have a story for you. I don't think I've told you. But these things that can be really terrible, or we can find things that are really great. And that's, we the companies who are doing the terrible things and the people who are running these companies, it's our pocketbooks that are going to either keep them going or not. And so I again have a client in my Soulful Conception program, and we were talking about just what we're talking about. We're talking about laundry detergents, and she's having some pretty significant issues with rashes like around her underwear line, right? And it can be a difficult thing to deal with because it was painful and it was irritated. Ends up that it was her detergent, which was a Tide for sensitive skin, right? So just because it says it's for sensitive skin, just because it says natural, just because it says it's, we're, on the good side, doesn't mean that it is. And so with that being said, what I did, because I wanted to give her some guidance on where to go for some good laundry detergent, is I went and looked at mine. And I look at the ingredients on just about everything. I happened to get this one. It's called Boulder something out of Costco, and I thought, okay, this is a pretty good one. And so I took it home and I've used it for a few months now, and never even looked it up, right? And so you can go to environmentalworkinggroup.org or ewg.org, and you can look it up and you can find out if these things are healthy or not healthy, or if they're impactful, and it gives it a grade, like A to H. There's an above A, like a certification, I don't know, to an F. And I look up this silly laundry detergent that I'm thinking I'm doing well with, but I just, huge brain fart on my part, and it was an F. So I've been cleaning our clothes and cleaning the dog's beds and our towels and all of these things in this toxic product every single week for months. And it frustrated the hell out of me. But it was an eye-opener, right? It is that we can't trust the greenwashing, we can't trust the marketing, we can't trust the companies. We have to take about accountability and do our own research. And so, we don't always have the time to do the research, so we go to the people who have done it for us and the people we trust. So I do a lot of research and don't always go as deep as I should, obviously, but I, took a little time, but I did it. But people like, or organizations like Environmental Working Group, you can put in a single ingredient, you can put in an entire name of a product, and it's going to tell you why it's been given the grade that it is. It's going to grade every single ingredient in that product, and so you know what you're in for. You know if these are endocrine disruptors, and so often they are, right? And so if we're in a situation where we're wanting to grow our family, but we're using these toxic products on our skin and in our environment every single day, and then we're putting them on our skin, so it's absorbing in our skin. If you smell your detergent, it's probably toxic, right? We have all of these really great, to me they smell just chemically now, I can't stand them. But that's why they do it, is because, well, it smells so good. These are toxic chemicals that you're inhaling every single day, and it's super problematic. It's going to be it can be a respiratory issue, it can be a cancer-causing issue, it can be an endocrine disruptor. And when we're trying to get pregnant, we do not want our endocrine system disrupted, for sure. And so I've said this a few times, but if you don't know what that means, an endocrine disruptor, they're called xenoestrogens. And so they are estrogen mimickers. So the body sees them as estrogens, and they bind to estrogen receptor sites much more tightly than our own natural estrogen does. And so this happens to men, it happens to women. We have estrogen receptor sites on every single cell of our body. And so when we have xenoestrogens that are attaching in places where it should be our own estrogen, this is when our hormone imbalances just go freaking haywire, right? And so it can happen to children, and it can happen to those who are, postmenopausal. It can create a situation of andropause, which is menopause for men. And it's a real thing, right? There are different situations with men and women, but there is what's called andropause, and part of it is due to endocrine disrupting chemicals. So we want to really look at what's in our food. If you're buying food that's already boxed or canned or whatever, you've got to look at the ingredients. you got to, there's a lot of people do this, and it's heartbreaking to me that Whole Foods has gone from a place to where they're really out there trying to do the right thing and feed us good food, to now they put canola oil in everything, in most everything, right? So if you're going and you go through their salad bar, which I enjoy, I love a good salad, and I love prepared food because it's easy and it's fast. But you look at those, and you're going to see more ingredients in some of these than you're going to see in something that's, boxed off of the shelf. It's kind of maddening, but you have to look and you have to read, because they're going to have things that we don't want in our food that they're adding. They're adding canola oil to so many of their prepared foods. And so canola oil, I don't care if it's organic, does not matter to me. It is inflammatory. If you're looking to get pregnant, stay away from canola oil. If you're looking to not have cardiovascular disease, or prevent, or to eliminate the progression of cardiovascular disease, you stay away from canola oil, right? Canola oil is a massive problem. It's highly processed. It is not shelf stable, so they have to make it shelf stable, and it's through all of these processings and all of these things. It's really disgusting. It's horrible stuff. Stay away from canola oil. So let's see, what else can we look at? I want to talk about, so I think one of the things I want to hit on real quick, I hit on this briefly last week, that we're going to start doing a referral program that I'm super excited about. So we have these really cool, I have these companies who have decided to join me on this, who are amazing, and we're going to start talking about them and promoting them. We're not all put together yet, and we're going to launch on the 1st. So I don't have any information that I want to give you yet, because it's just not ready. But I do want to hit on it and talk a little bit about the companies, because it all plays a role in all of these things that we're talking about. And so as of the 1st, though, you can go to the website, tastelifenutrition.com, and you'll find information on the referral program, how to get involved if that's something that you want to do, and how to get in for winning. I think we've got 3 different prizes. One's worth $140, one's worth $150, and one's worth like $500. So really, really cool stuff. But if you know me at all, you know that I love Cellcore. Cellcore is a supplement company. You can only get their products through practitioners. They are strong and they're amazing. And if one of their products is not up to par as they're going through manufacturing, then they cut it, right? And they redo it. And so I'm very well aligned with who they are as a company and as people. I go to their conferences all the time. I know what they believe, and what they believe is very well aligned with what I believe. And I think that that's important. They believe in the health of people. They believe in accountability, personal accountability. They believe in that we are in a situation where there are too many toxins in the environment and in the world and in our lives and in our heads that our bodies are not ready for. And so Cellcore is a company that they put together programs and protocols specific to eliminating the body of toxins. And when I'm talking about toxins, I'm talking, yes, mycotoxins, microbes, environmental toxins, and what else we have? Heavy metals, even thoughts, which is amazing and weird and not something I'm going to get into, but they have products that can help with that mental and emotional piece of life that sometimes we need help with, right? I know I always need help with that piece of it too. But Cellcore is amazing because they have decided to join me in this program with their kit that's a lymphatic drainage kit. And this is a protocol that I start with all of my clients, unless there's a reason not to, right? Everything is individualized, but this is pretty well one of those things that can be started on most anyone. Because in order for us to start detoxification, in order for us to get rid of microbes, in order for us to release, we have to be able to have a way for it to move out of the body. And so if our lymphatic system is not working properly, if we're not pooping every day, if we're not eliminating the way that we're supposed to, then things are going to get clogged up. So if we start detoxifying the liver or the skin or any other detoxifying organ and it gets stuck, what's going to happen? We're going to feel like crap. And it's going to be wasteful, right? I hate wasting money. I hate wasting money. And so I want to make sure that all of those drainage pathways are open and flowing and moving. On top of that, we can jump on a rebounder. That's a great way of helping the products to work and helping your body work. And having body work, so going for a walk, getting lymphatic drainage massages, all of these things are really great for getting it moving and preparing the body for detoxification. That in a lot of cases is the missing piece to the body detoxifying. What we also need to keep in mind, just sort of a side note, is detoxification is not something that we should consider doing once a month, once a quarter, once a year. Detoxification is daily, making sure our drainage pathways are open daily, making sure that we're pooping daily. If you are not pooping daily, figure out why, right? Ideally, we should be pooping 3 times a day. But if you're not going daily, you are toxic. There's a reason for it. The body's not moving. Could it be the vagus nerve? Sure. Could it be infection? Sure. Could it be all of these other things that we continue to talk about that's not allowing the body to work properly, that decreases motility? You have to move every single day. If you miss a day, figure out why. So, I have people come to me who are like, I might not go for 5 days. And it literally, my jaw drops and I freak out. I'm like, okay, we got to get you going now. And when I put people through this protocol, that is the biggest piece of it is make sure you are going every single day on this protocol. It is so important to make sure of that. So with CellCore, we are including this, it's called a phase 1 kit or a step 1 kit or a jumpstart kit, because that's what it does. It is the beginning of the process, and it works really well. It's great. I love it to pieces. So grateful to CellCore. You can look up CellCore. I'll have all of their links and all their information once we get everything going, but you can look up CellCore at cellcore.com. They have lots of great information. They have lots of studies and data and all of the things. And so you can see behind me, thanks Henry, that this is just my little promo for Soulful Conception. I'm going to move that over, so if you want to see the QR code, you can. And so Soulful Conception is, it's in part why I talk about this stuff, because it is so important to understand your body so we can have a healthy family. That's really all what it comes down to. And so Soulful Conception is behind me. The QR code, if you're interested and want to learn more about it, it's behind me. And I'm here to be of service. I'm here to chat with you about it and to, just help out in any way I can. So reach out if you would like to talk about it. I think I want to move into, what do we want to talk about? I have so much here that I can talk about. Simply, this is something that you already know, but I can't not say it, is making sure that when you're eating a good healthy diet, you're eating healthy meat, pasture raised, so it's non-toxic, healthy fat, which does not include canola oil, so olive oil, don't cook with olive oil, healthy fat, some people can do grass-fed butter, that's great if you can, or ghee, coconut oil, coconut milk. Some people epigenetically aren't great with saturated fats, so you might want to consider, just moderating saturated fat a little bit, but most people do fine with good, healthy saturated fat. So saturated fat is not the enemy. Remember that. Saturated fat is not the enemy. But if it's coming from an animal who is inflamed and you're eating saturated fat from an animal that's inflamed, then it is the enemy because it is unhealthy fat, inflammatory fat. So then beyond that, fruit, especially berries. Man, berries are my favorite. And we've got pomegranates that are coming out. I just got a bunch of pomegranates. So good healthy berries. Just remember though, with fruit, we have some pretty high sugar fruit, but it also has all the other things in it as well. But the phytonutrients are important, the antioxidants are important, the fiber is important, but if you are dealing with blood sugar issues, you want to make sure that you're not getting too much fruit. I have a lot of people who say, that's all I eat is fruit. Maybe that's okay for some people. If you're dealing with, if your glucose levels are too high, then we need to really mitigate that and get them balanced, especially if you're looking to get pregnant, get those balanced so we don't have to worry about that as we're going through pregnancy, right? So keep the sugar levels low, but if it's not an issue for you, I think fruit's great. I just love berries. Berries are my fave. And then, of course, sugar. Plain sugar is inflammatory. It's problematic. We eat way more than we should. Getting sugar from your fruit is plenty. You can get sugar from raw honey, which is the best. It can help with allergies. Raw honey, there are some people who can't do it. Totally get that, right? This is why we look at the individual. Everybody's individual, everybody's different, so we have to understand the body. But in general, raw honey is a great way of getting a sweet tooth fix, right? We all have them. It happens. I mean, most people do. I have them. I know it's also I have an epigenetic variant that leads me to having a sweet tooth. So what do? You figure out the best ways to mitigate that sweet tooth. I've gotten to the place to where I don't really have much of a sweet tooth anymore, but I used to. And so understanding what your body is, what it needs is key. And then learning how to mitigate some of these things that are just sort of ingrained in who we are. I mean, we're just built certain ways, right? So I want to hit a bit on, let's talk about this real quick, just because it's also pretty simple, but it's important. Alcohol and caffeine, if you're trying to get pregnant. I am not an alcohol or caffeine Nazi. Now, there's nothing about alcohol that's good for us, right? There really isn't. Maybe if you're drinking a good fermented wine that's organic and low in sugar and not processed and all the things, might be some benefits there. If you are having a beer that is naturally fermented and doesn't have all the extra stuff in it, and you're not doing it all the time, that they have probiotics. The wine has phytonutrients. It's got resveratrol. So is it, the worst thing in the world? No. I mean, I enjoy a good wine. I enjoy hard kombucha. It's kind of my go-to at this point. Although I don't do it much anymore. But we can get these healthy nutrients from other foods. We don't have to get it from wine. And so it really is hard on the liver. It converts it to sugar. It can create some problems. So if you're wanting to get pregnant, really consider stopping alcohol, or at the very least, really, really backing off. I don't like the word moderate. Moderate's very, I don't know. It's just, moderate's also individual. What does moderation mean to one person? It could be every day, and one person could be, once a year. So I don't like the word moderate necessarily, but if you want to get pregnant, I would say, and this is for men too, significantly decrease your alcohol intake. None if you can. I mean, we all can, right? But decreasing your alcohol intake is important. Caffeine, really, really reduce caffeine intake. If you drink a cup a day or 2 cups a day, probably not a huge deal. If you're drinking it all day long, if you're drinking it because you're trying to stay awake, that can be problematic and decrease your chances of getting pregnant. So let's be really careful about the amount of caffeine that we take in. But if you're not looking to get pregnant, I don't have a huge problem with caffeine. What I look for is that it's organic, that it's tested for molds and mycotoxins, because they can be really high in molds and mycotoxins. So, if you can find a good, healthy coffee that's high in antioxidants, low or no molds and mycotoxins, I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with it at all. I do it daily. I go in spurts, but I do it probably daily. I do want to talk about EMFs a little bit. This is certainly not an area of expertise for me, but I want to talk about it because, one of the things for men is they're carrying their cell phones in their pockets all the time, whether it's your front pocket or your back pocket, carrying your pocket. You're right there next to all your man parts. right? So these EMFs it says on the cell phone directions, I've not seen it, but I know it says it, you're not supposed to have the phone, I think it's within an inch, or it's not supposed to touch your skin. The thing is, though, how do we not, we're always have it to our ear, how do we not touch it? It's kind of a joke, it really frustrates me. So, talk on a speakerphone. Be careful of the earbuds that are not connected. Those EMFs, those frequencies, whatever you want to call them, are going straight through your brain. Yes, I think it's a huge problem. Not everybody does. I think it's a really, really, big problem. But the cool thing is, and this is kind of getting back to our referral program, is with EMFs, we have the coolest ways of mitigating these EMFs. Now, if you're putting it directly in your skin, or you're sitting it next to your man parts, then I don't know that it's going to do much. But there's a company called EMF Rocks. They are involved in this referral program as well. They have such good science behind the ability for these natural crystals to decrease and help our environment, right? We're not always in a situation where we can turn off our Wi-Fi every day, or turn off our phone every day, or get away from the high wires that are right next to our house. But we can have, this is a little small personal, and literally I have this in here with me all the time. I'm showing it to you today because I want to talk about EMF Rocks. But they're little crystals that are inside of here. You put them on the floor and it helps to charge them. I don't really get that, but it's the way that the earth works it's the way the earth works, right? We're all energetic. The earth is energetic. Rocks are all energetic. But these particular types of rocks, I don't remember what they are because they're not ones that I had heard of before, but they're going to be on the website when we launch next week. This particular type of rock really helps to manage, mitigate, eliminate the EMFs that we're dealing with. And so I have a couple of bigger bags. I believe a big bag protects you in 500 square feet, and so 5 bags protects a 2,000 square foot home. So for me personally, I don't have 5 bags yet, I have 2, so we'll keep one in my office, one in my husband's office, and then when we go to bed upstairs, we'll take it upstairs with us, and we'll have it next to our bed. We have a Sleep Number bed, which means, and I didn't know this when we bought it, but which means we have all of these electrical currents under the bed. This is a problem. So think about this. We also think about wires in the walls, so probably lots of wires behind us as well. So having the bigger bag and having it in your room, it can help you sleep. I think that's what they call it. They call it, I don't know, reducing EMFs to help you sleep. But look them up. It's emfrocks.com. We'll have all of their information on the website next week. If you're just joining, tastelifenutrition.com. Next week we're starting a referral program and have some pretty cool giveaways. So emfrocks.com is good stuff. So I'll have links for you there so you can check them out. I think let's go ahead and talk about the last company who is involved in the program, because they are a big part of helping to reduce symptoms at a sort of the cellular level. And this is why I love this company. It's called Double Helix Water. New to me, but super interesting in the way that they work. You put in a few drops in the cleanest water you can find. They suggest using shoot, I forgot it. So not reverse osmosis, it's the other one. Anyway, they were I'll think of it here in a minute. But they in the purest, cleanest water you can possibly find, putting 3 drops in that. If you have a filter at your house, most filters are not actually creating clean water. A few of them do. So something to research. I have a couple of people who, one in particular, who are water people who I want to have on the show. It hasn't happened yet, but I think it's important for us to understand the amount of toxicity in our clean water. It's not clean. It's got microbes, it's got toxins, it's got fluoride, which is put in it. Horrific. It's got, the chlorine, horrific, right? I was told that, I think this was by somebody who worked in the water industry. It was we're here to clean it. We're not here to make it safe. No, we're here to make it safe. We're not here to clean it, is essentially what it is. Which is, I think is, I mean, again, it goes back to our own personal responsibility, right? We have to take care of ourselves, and we can't trust anybody, especially the government, to take care of us. And I don't want to. You know, I want the control to take care of myself. And so they make it safe, which is not really safe because fluoride is not safe, right? The type of fluoride that they're putting in our water is not safe. Whole other topic. But with all that being said, putting in something like double helix water, it doesn't clean the water. It actually just, it helps to, it clusters the water and it's hydrating. A lot of us have a real issue with truly being hydrated for multiple reasons. Cellular dysfunction, gut dysfunction, you know, we're not getting enough minerals, we're not getting enough electrolytes. You know, there are certain minerals that are electrolytes. And so if we're not getting enough of those, it's like we're constantly dehydrated. And so double helix water, and especially if you do it in a specific protocol, can help to truly rehydrate you. This is something that I'm looking forward to doing. I have my own shipment coming in here shortly, so I will be doing that. But to be truly rehydrated, using this is a great way to do it. You know, it has helped with skin problems. They have it for dogs. They have it, which is in a grass-fed collagen base. They have it for skin, like lotions. They have it, and then they've got the double helix water. So what we're doing is we're giving away the double helix water as well as the like a pack of skincare, which is really super freaking cool. So again, you can go to doublehelixwater.com, check them out. But next week on the 1st, we'll have all of the links, all of the information, everything that you're going to want on what this program is about, the referral, the gifts, and what that looks like. So I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and grateful to these companies for joining me in this program, because I want to get my message out about the importance of health, of course, but the importance of preconception planning, and I want them to get their message out. So it's a really beautiful little partnership, and they're all really great, amazing people doing really, really good, big things to serve you, to serve me, and to bring the health that we all want in this life. You know, if again, it goes back to, we have these amazing things that we're here to do, and if we don't feel well, we can't do them. It's too hard, right? And I don't like things to be, I mean, things are already going to be hard, but let's feel well so we can get through the hard stuff and grow from the hard stuff, right? So I think that's really key. So let's see, a couple of things that I wanted to make sure we hit on for just for preconception planning is making sure you're drinking plenty of water. That is, I mean, it's sort of a, you know, we know that we're supposed to do it, but we don't. And this is like the most simple thing that we can do is drink plenty of water. So think about putting lemon in it, lime in it, orange in it, whatever it is that's going to make you want to drink it, just do it. And you know, it really is that simple. Have bigger bottles. I don't know what it is. Think about what it is that's going to make you do it. But this is really so important. Add minerals to it. You can add a little pink sea salt if you want to. You can add the minerals from Cellcore, which is what I do. But all of these things are going to help to, and then of course double helix water as well, but help you to rehydrate, help the body, help you at a cellular level. Drugs, you know, we're told that there are so many things that are safe for getting pregnant, for during pregnancy, when I think that there's a lot that we don't understand the impact of it. You know, and I'm talking things like Tylenol. Tylenol is so toxic. Whether you're trying to get pregnant or not, just stay away from Tylenol. Ibuprofen's not great either. I was listening to a podcast, and ibuprofen, you take ibuprofen, and makes your liver bleed a tablespoon. Crazy, right? So just be really, really aware and really careful. Avoiding dusts and fumes. This was interesting too. So paint, glues, solvents, household cleaning materials, including oven cleaners, bleach, mold treatments, can affect the health of sperm and or eggs, right? So, you know, if you are considering, a painting project, if you're considering, consider what it is you're cleaning your home with. Again, all of these things, because they're going to have an impact on your sperm, on your eggs, and those are, we got to have those guys moving and healthy, right? Let's see. Being careful to avoid non-ionizing radiation. So this includes microwaves, mobile phones, cordless phones. Let's see. Your computer on your lap, right? This goes, back to, even women. I do it. I have my computer on my lap sometimes, and I put a little table, like a lap table on my lap to protect myself. I'm not even looking to have kids. But I know that I want to be protected. All of me wants to be protected, and I always have my EMF rocks, okay? So another thing that you can do, though, which is interesting, is you can have a cushion filled with Epsom salt, which is really cool, and so have that cushion under your computer, and that can help to absorb some of that, some of those nasty frequencies. And, this is a tough one, but it goes back to one thing I just said. Avoid sleeping in a room that has active electrical gadgets. Keep them as far away as possible. So this is where the EMF rocks is going to come into play, but if you don't want to do that, have your cell phone away from you. Turn it on airplane mode, all of the things that it does make a difference. Some of us are genetically predisposed to having more of an effect from EMFs than others. We can see it in testing that we do. So, and even if we don't have it, it's still going to affect us. But some people, if you are out there and you're dealing with some really seriously chronic condition and you can't eliminate it, you can't figure out why, you can't figure out what's going on, consider the fact that it's your body's unable to deal with all of the toxicity around you, including EMFs. So, you think about going on vacation, right? Go on vacation and far away, like in the mountains, and don't have your phone, don't have your computer, don't have any of that stuff, and see if you start to feel better. And if you're outside walking in your bare feet, that's going to be helpful as well. So think about that. Let's see. We talked about stress. Stress can come in all kinds of different ways. So I think these are, that's really what I wanted to hit on. And then, of course, thank Cellcore, EMF Rocks, and Double Helix Water for joining me on this program that we're doing. Again, it's starting next week on the 1st. So look out for that. You can go to tastelifenutrition.com to get the information on that. It'll be on the the homepage. So you click on any of the links and any of the stuff there. So that'll be fun, and look for some really cool prizes to come out of that. Also, go to the website. I have a free assessment. You can jump on the assessment, and I'll reach back out to you personally, and we'll chat about whatever it is that we need to chat about with your health. If I can be of service, or if I know someone else who can be of service, that's what I'm here for, is to do my best to be a guide in any way that I can. If you have questions, of course, about soulful conception, reach out. I'm here to talk about that as much as I can, because it really is, it sits on my heart to know and to spread the word and create more awareness around the fact that we have control over creating a healthy future. It's beautiful. What else? I'm Taste Life Nutrition on all of the social media, doing my best to get as much good information out there as I can.